Today was a beautiful day, weather-wise. I know the last time I talked to you folks, we were just waiting for the weather to break so we can finish Andre's later model 306A. And yeah, I'm going to show you what we've done. Hopefully Andre will join the stream and he'll be able to see his saw and see how it's going. I will tell you, so yesterday, so the saw's been prepped for paint for a little while now. It was just a matter of, waiting for the weather to break so I'd be able to get out there and actually paint it. So I primed it yesterday, and the weather was kind of bad, man. I was getting some runs, and it just wasn't cold enough, and the activator wasn't really doing its job like it should. So I had to sand a couple spots back down and redo it, but I will tell you, and then actually just today, because I ran out of later model green paint, later model Mopar green. As you can see, this is not farm yellow. This paint was scanned directly off of a later model saw, so it is a 99.9% match. Here it is right here. Custom mix from Color Match, it's called, here in Nashville. Look them up. Label the tops because I gotta tell the difference. But I've got Mopar green and of course farm yellow from the same company. They do a wonderful job. It's the best paint you're gonna get, man. Oil, gas resistant, automotive grade paint. Anyhow. After an ice storm and about 2 weeks of just freezing cold temperatures here in Nashville and all over the South, today, even right now as we speak, it's 60, 64, 65 degrees, no wind, so it was literally perfect weather to pick up on the paint job. So with that, we are going to start to reassemble this saw, and I'm going to do it with you guys here on camera to show you what's next in the process. I've got a pink towel here, I'm going to need it. So I will tell you, with saws that I restore, one thing that the one thing that I just can't seem to maintain is the very bottom of the saw. It seems like no matter what, it's going to get scratched up, it's going to get scuffed. But if you ever buy a restored saw from me and you want the bottom to be perfectly preserved and you want it to stay nice and clean, you're always, every time you take it out, wherever you store it, make sure it's got something soft under it, or it's just going to happen, guys. You can't do anything about it. We want the bottom of that saw to stay looking like that for as long as possible. But this thing, it looks brand new again, and that was the goal. So we're going to start taking off the masking tape on the spots that it is, and we are going to begin to reassemble this thing. If you guys have any questions, put them in the comments. I know whenever I go live, I'm pretty bad at checking the comments, and it's usually because the camera is behind me, and I'm usually working on this, so I'll keep my eye out, and I'll try to keep peeking. Now, this cylinder did come off at one point, obviously, because we did replace the piston, if y'all remember. So that's the reason it's masked up like this. I always make sure that this saw is in perfect running condition before we do all of this, and we made sure that we repaired all the mechanical stuff, got it running like it should, so that way if Andre wants to, he can gas this thing up and go cut with it, or he doesn't have to put a drop of anything in it, and he can just preserve it and basically leave it like a brand new saw, because it's pretty much what it is right now. But this is how it goes, guys. This is what I do. Now I will tell you there are some saws, like especially if the customer requests, I'll actually paint the cylinder as well. I have a, a little spark plug, mock spark plug that I put in here, and then I have a special piece of plastic that fits directly over the exhaust port, so that way I can paint the cylinder fins. But as you see though, on a lot of them saws when they were brand new, they either didn't have paint on there or they only had overspray on the very bottom of it, but that's it. Typically, I try to, I just clean the cylinder like this to get it nice and shiny again, you know. But it will look good, I promise you that. We still got a tiny, tiny bit of residual oil coming out of the oiler, but this saw is completely emptied. So I typically what I do is I tilt the saw after I dump out the tank, obviously. And we did replace this gasket in the center as well. So when I took the oil tank off, I basically just emptied it, rinsed it out, soapy water, dried it, and then I flipped the saw on its side, and I just kept pressing the pump like this until all of the oil came out, and there's literally just the tiniest bit of oil leaking out that's left, like not even enough to worry, but I can see it, Intake like that. See, look, you can still see some of the original overspray right here on top of the exhaust port, or the intake block. This part's not as amusing. Yeah, I debated on whether or not to take all the masking stuff off before I did the video. Also, too, guys, sometimes I don't mask the clutch. A lot of times I just take it off. But I had already put it back on, not thinking. I put the clutch back on, and I was like, oh, well, screw it. I'm not going to take it back off again, paint it. May as well just leave it on, mask it up. If you mask the bottom of it right, you could still hit all the same spots with the paint. So it's okay. This X-Acto knife is getting pretty dull. And I think this is my last blade. So pretty soon I'm going to have to buy new blades. It's like unwrapping a present, guys. Oh yeah. See, as long as you make sure that masking tape goes under that washer behind the clutch, you don't usually have any issues. You let it dry for about 2 hours. This is really, really fast drying paint, guys, so when you're working with it, you gotta move fast. Got a little tape residue of paint on there in the clutch. Clean that up real quick. All it takes is just a little bit of this here sandpaper. Gone. Just like that. Let me peek, see the comments. Hey, what's up, guys? Sam, I can definitely restore that for you. Hey, Andre, I hope you like it, man. I actually have been really wanting to do a Tuesday 463 restoration. I've thought about doing one back to its original condition, and then I've also thought about turning one into a later model 245 SA. The only hurdle I think I'd have with doing a Dayton restoration is the decals, because there aren't any available, any aftermarket reproduction decals for that saw available, so I'd have to get them custom made. And yeah, but other than that, I think I could do it. Or, you know, I could turn it into a 245 SA for you. Those decals are definitely available. Sugar Creek makes them, and they do a really good job on their stuff, man. I do like Sugar Creek's products. Um, but when it comes to the early model 245 decal, uh, that's you don't want to go to them because theirs is actually not correct at all. But if you have a later model saw and you just want it to look like an early model without painting it, that's the way to go. Sugar Creek, baby. Otherwise, Crystal Lake Creations or Old Saw Shop. Or if you have the know-how, like I'll be honest with you, I'm super picky with the decals, even the ones I still use. And I mean, they're great and all, but I overanalyze everything, and I've even considered, you know, learning how to make my own, so I can just make my own decals and set my own standard with them. All right. So is that it? What else do we got to take? Okay, yeah, the oiler. Take off the masking tape from the oiler. I mean, also, as you can see, you can't really get the original overspray out of the threads, but we do make sure that we get the paint back on the tips of the studs, just like they were when they were new. It's all about how you mask it, guys. You know. And you make sure you cover up the magnet, just like this, with masking tape. And then when you're done, give it a little rub with some sandpaper. It'll ensure good contact when you put the coil back on. You do the same thing with the coil. Now we take the flywheel off. Also, yes, I did paint over the oiler, the oil tank cap, and the reason for that is when these things were new, the later model saws, the oil cap like this, the square peg caps were painted over with this color. Any one of them that you see in pictures or ones that you have at home, that's exactly how they look. So I did that. It was only the early models, the 245s, 306As in farm yellow, they had the black caps that were unpainted with the round pegs. And then when they first changed over to this color, they were still black. Some of you'll find like round black pegs, and then you'll find square black peg oil caps on there unpainted. But eventually by 75 they were all painted over square peg like this. And this one's a super later model. I'm going to say about 78 or 76, I'd say, because of the pull rope handle. Alright, now we remove the hardware for the flywheel. This is not hooked up, guys. We just put it on there to make sure we get it painted in the right places. You know, beautiful painted flywheel. Also, oh, wait a sec. I pulled off that piece of tape. I pulled off the moon key with it. I'll find it. It's in there. Now, we're going to take off tape on the crankshaft. I'm going to have to go through all this tape and find that son of a bitch. Yeah, very carefully. Yeah, man, I was so excited to get this thing painted. I couldn't wait. I woke up this morning, got right to work. You know, enjoying the weather. No hats, no gloves, no jacket even. I mean, I am shirt, but it's like perfect. Perfect weather. So there you have it, man. Completely repainted, rebuilt crankcase. You know, the whole thing. It's ready to go. I'm going to set this off to the side for just a second because, oh, here it is. See, guys, the moon key was stuck on the piece of tape. So we're going to take that off, put it on the magnet so we don't lose it. Get that off to the side. We can actually set this off to the side for a second, too. Move some of this crap. We'll put the hardware with the flywheel. Let's check the comments. Yeah, Sam, I could definitely do that for you, but you let me know what's wrong with it and what you want done to it, and I can make it happen for you. You know, I actually even have I have a ton of parts for those saws too. So yeah, I mean, if that's something you want to get done, just let me know. I'd love to help you. All right, here is our throttle handle piece right here, completely painted, clear coated. Now the one thing that I do that Poland didn't do is I paint the inside of the carb box. I think it looks a lot better when you put the carburetor in there. The reason why Poland didn't is, you know, because they were painting so many of them at one time. It was kind of, it just had covers on them, and it was on an assembly line. They all got sprayed as they came by. That's like one of my favorite things that people say when they get a restored saw from me. They say, man, the paint job on this is better when they come from the factory. And it's like, well, you know, it's true because they were mass producing them, so they didn't really have time to hit every little minute detail and worry about overspray and all that crap. So there we go. This is nothing. This is just the extra one that I use just for paint purposes only. And look inside of here. Clean gas tank, new fuel line, filter. Dressed for success. Now it was missing one of these, but luckily I have one, so we are going to put that back in. But let's take off the rest of the masking tape off the fuel flue here. Let's get the tape off of the throttle lock at the top. These right here, guys, this is one of my least favorite parts of doing the restorations, is the throttle lock button. And it's because it's such a tight, small little area, and you got to get really tiny pieces of tape, and you got to get it down under on the inside and see if it moves. If you just tape it the way it sits, then sometimes you miss the back part here, so you got to be very cautious when you paint these on this, especially this little throttle piece. Because I see a lot of people when they do restorations, they end up just like spraying over that. Nah, we're not going to do that. And then another thing that happens when I deal with the throttle locks is the adhesive from the masking tape sometimes gets stuck on the button itself, and then I got to go back with adhesive remover and just clean it up a little bit. But there we go. Now we're getting somewhere. Yeah, see, it's kind of a pain. But I also have an engine enamel pen. Basically, it's just the black paint pen that's gas and oil resistant. Sometimes I'll paint over them with that to get the color back on them real nice. Do not use Sharpie, guys. If you put Sharpie on these damn saws, any gas touches it, it will eat it right off, and it'll smear. So like when I do the early model restorations, like the clutch covers, when you see them on the early models, Poland actually did paint this outer part of the clutch cover black. They were painted black. I've seen people use Sharpie to do that. If you do that, any gas or anything touches it, it rubs right off. So you want to get you a high heat resistant and oil resistant, gas and oil resistant paint pen. And that's what I use. But we're not going to do that to this one because it's a later model. And although those clutch covers and that decal did have a black ring around it to accentuate the logo and stuff, it was actually on the decal on the later models rather than on the actual clutch cover itself, which is really cool. And I think the reason they did that is because the black outline that they would paint around here would be like the first thing to scrape off. And I guess it was less time consuming, less paint to use, so they just started putting the black outline on the decal, which is cool. I like that. And that's like with Sugar Creek's early model 245A decal. It has the black ring around it, just like a later model decal, except for, you know, I don't know. It's neat, cool little detail. A lot of people don't know. All right, we're gonna take. We gotta get this off. Throttle linkage piece. This is also kind of a pain in the ass because you end up sticking both of the adhesive sides together just to properly cover this thing. You could paint over the throttle linkage, but I don't like it because then when you go to put it back on the carb, it scrapes the paint off anyway, and then it looks like shit. You don't want that. You want the saw to look as clean as possible, and you want it to hold up that way too. And best way to do that is to only really paint where you need to. And the good thing about the paint and clear coat and all that I use, it's automotive grade, and you can pour gas on this thing all day and that paint's not coming off. It's just like the original paint that they used on them. It's not the exact same because actually the paint that they originally used on here was lead based, and obviously we don't use that. The brand of people, some people ask, they ask what brand of paint I use. It's called Nason, and I'm sure a lot of automotive paint supply companies carry it. It's the closest thing to old school automotive paint you're going to get. It's super simple. The mix ratio for reducer, if you're spraying it, is 2-to-1, I believe. So I mean, you're not gonna need to go crazy and get some kind of crazy expensive paint. Nason is the way to go. If you want to get real farm yellow paint, you need to bring them a real farm yellow part and have them digitally scan an actual part. That's really the only way to get farm yellow paint. Because people say, well, can you give me the paint code? It's like, yeah, sure, I can send you the paint code, but it's not going to do you any good because every automotive paint shop uses a different system to mix their paint. So, like for instance, the paint code that I use for my farm yellow paint, it's different every time, but the mix number is unique to that batch. So it's not really going to do you any good. You gotta bring an actual farm yellow part into the paint shop and have them literally digitally scan it, and then they match it. And I did the same thing for this later model green stuff. That's why it's spot on. Like, that's exactly what it looks like, you know. Very good. All right, what else we got? So we got all that off. Now one more thing, the identification plate on the fan cover. I mean, look at that thing, shiny as hell, brand new. And the saw wasn't really in bad condition when I got it. It looked good. I was shocked though at how bad the piston was. I was shocked. That was surprising. And the fact that it was missing a chunk of its ring, I think that might have been what put that gouge in the piston to begin with. Maybe a piece of the ring busted off somehow and, you know, got banged around inside of there, caused a little bit of damage. But we got her going again. She runs real clean, idles smooth, has good compression. Yep. And we will also clean up the identification plate as well with the black paint. You see how the edges are kind of worn off? We'll clean those edges up real good with the black heat resistant, gas resistant paint. Makes the ID tags pop, makes it look good. So there you have it, man. Nice and clean, nice and new. Now, I guess we can move on to the fun stuff. Actually, really quick, I'm going to see if I can get this back in. This is sort of kind of a nightmare to do, but we're going to try. Especially without messing up the paint on the outside. You know? Sometimes you could just push them right in. If the rubber is still pliable, you can pop them right in there. But, you know, they get old, so they kind of get hard and they dry rot. And when that happens, you're looking at a whole nother issue. Alright, let's try pulling it in from the inside now. Twist and pull. Yep. One side. Oh. My girlfriend is hollering my name. I'm streaming. Small flathead screwdriver. Don't know where it is. So we'll have to use this one. Press that in. Press the bottom in. I mean, I know that typically people will put these in before or just never take them out and just paint over them. I do sometimes. It just really depends because it's not something we would really see on the saw. But, you know, I think those little details make a difference when you do stuff like that. Yeah, and they can become real fragile too, these little gaskets. Which also makes them hard to work with because you're always afraid you're going to rip them or tear them. Like this one's kind of giving me an issue. I'm paranoid. I don't want to scratch the paint. So, and if we're going to do this, we want to do this now while, you know, while we can handle the top piece like this, because you're not going to be able to work with it the way that I am now. Once it's back together, it's going to be twice as hard. Alright, we got one side. Now we're just going to get the bottom. I believe I have a smaller set of pliers. There we go. Good deal. All right, so gasket's back in place for the carburetor jets on the inside here. Clean that up a little bit. The edges are nice and snug. All right, so we got our jet gaskets back in there. Back to the crankcase. All right. Now it's a shame, guys. I could literally have this entire saw completely finished tonight if I had the decals from Sugar Creek, but they actually have not even shipped them yet. Which, you know, I understand. I guess it has to do with the bad weather that we had. But they do typically take a little longer anyway because they make everything to order. I just, man, you know, I'm excited and I want to get this thing done for Andre because I know he's been waiting for quite a while. But I promise it'll be worth the wait, my brother. I promise. Really quick. So we already have our hardware and everything set out for it. We are going to reattach our tensioner bolt. I always take those out too before we paint. You know, I'll tell you, you know, if Andre put this thing on display, it lasts probably another 50 years. You know, that's the cool thing about these saws, man. They're still around. They still run. Like, I think that's impressive, man. It's a testament to American ingenuity, you know. Just like cars, you know, they don't make them like they used to. These things are built to last. All right, we do our wrench. 3/8. So this tensioner bolt was slightly bent, but I straightened it a good bit, so it's still good to go. You don't want to over tighten these guys because then they will bend. And then once they bend, it's a nightmare to deal with. You don't want that. You just want it on there enough to have a little bit of play. Come on, baby. Just a little bit. Okay, that's it. See that? See how it's still moving? That's what you want. Okay. Now, we are going to work on the recoil side. This part can be kind of a headache, but once you know how to do it, it's fine. We're going to take the small screws out of the top because I'm going to show you guys a little trick. It's going to make your lives a whole lot easier when you do this. As you remember, we went through this recoil, rewound the spring, cleaned it all up, and also Andre requested that I replace the rope, so we got a brand new rope in there. Something just flew out. I think I lost one of the screws on the ground. Here it is. So yeah, now we got a nice, pretty white rope in there for him. We're going to take the spool out first. Put the disc in here, fresh oil. So this is the trick I'm talking about. Always make sure, for your own sanity, um, get your rope, feed your rope through the hole here first before you hook up the rest of the recoil. Because if you put the recoil housing in here and stuff, you're going to be, there's no room to do it. So I always try to do this first. I take the spool out, go under here, feed it up through. Just like that. So now it's a one and done thing. Just get that started and just leave it to the side. Now the good thing about this saw here is it's a later model and it has a solid state ignition system in it. So that means we have no points to screw around with. You can see right here the crankshaft is all solid. It's just straight. There's no space, missing here for the points. So you could technically, if you have a points and condenser saw, you can swap the flywheel and the coil with a solid state coil and flywheel and it'll work. But you cannot change these into points and condenser. So if you guys are buying a saw and they tell you it doesn't have spark and it needs a new coil, make sure you're getting the right coil for the saw you have. And it also has to have the correct flywheel as well. So if you got a points and condenser saw, you need a points and condenser coil. If you have a solid state saw, you need a solid state coil. I've had people asking, I don't know what I have. It's all you got to do is just look at the coil. If you have the condenser right here, you got points and condenser. Otherwise, it's solid state. So now we put the recoil housing on, just like this. Make sure it's on the right way. We can start threading our screws in. There's our other one. 2 long, 1 short at the top because this one goes inside the carb box. You don't want a screw sticking out in there and it'll look funny. They all have a place. Now we're not going to torque this, okay? But we are going to tighten it. I'll go around later with a 5/16 socket and then we'll tighten them up. Alright, so now there's that. Now we're going to take our spool, make sure it's wrapped right, and we're going to rest it inside of the housing. Make sure it goes through here. And you want it to drop down in that spring. See how it's not in the housing all the way? Kind of want to just play with it a little bit. Gentle pressure, pull the rope out, boom. See how it caught, fell in? Boom. It's moving it, we're good to go there. But don't put the cover on yet because we got to assemble the rope or the handle, and then we have to get the slack out to make this recoil nice and snappy. You want it to pull right back with no slack. So we're going to get our really clean and nice pull rope handle that we restored. And yeah, it's kind of a pain in my ass right now that I don't know where my small screwdriver is. Hey honey, can you look over there where my tool tray usually is for the little black screwdriver with tape around the handle? If it's not there, it's probably on the kitchen counter. But I need it. Pop that out. Alright. Alright, that's fine. Yeah, man, I'm thinking, Sam, I would actually, you got me thinking about that now, man. I actually would really like to restore one of those. So if you want it done, buddy, let me know. I would love to do that. All right, here we go. Pull rope handle first. Up through the bottom. Then your insert. You want to make sure that this is secured nice and properly, because you know it will slide through if you don't do it right. I use a knot, a finishing nail, and super glue, so it will never come out. Also, a good trick to make sure your rope doesn't snap is to give yourself about 3 feet of rope. That's what you want. You want about 3 feet wrapped up in there, 3.5 feet even, because the more of it you have, without it, you don't want to put too much in there because then it won't fit inside of here. But you want enough though that it's not going to come out on you or break. Triple knot these together like this. So that way, the more you pull it, the tighter it gets. Then we need a trusty finishing nail, just like this one here. Slide it through this knot. And another good thing about it is, when you got slack like that, is if for some reason it does come out, you have enough slack that you can cut this knot off and start over again. Snips. Snip the rope. And we snip the edges of the nail off. Just like that. Then, our trusty super glue. I know some guys like actually put hardware on there too. Like, you put like a small like threaded screw through this, and then a nut on the end, and tighten it. You could do that, I guess, but I mean, that's a lot to fit inside of that insert. That's why I don't do it. I just triple knot it and make sure that your finishing nail is in the center. And I can guarantee you, unless you rip this rope or cut it on purpose, it's not going to come out. I've had people that had a saw from me that had a lot of compression and they pulled the rope out, but I mean, it's really nothing to it to put it back. Alright, now we're going to open the insert just a little bit. This is what I do. I stick the needle nose pliers in the center like this, and I just pull gently, just like that. You don't want to misshape it too much. Pull this up through. You want that finishing nail to sit across the hole. So you want it like this. Oh, the glue's not completely dry. Let's just give it a second. It won't take too long. Make sure your knot is completely inside of the insert. Use the pliers if you have them. Just press it down in like so. There we go. Pull it like this. Make sure it ain't going nowhere. I mean, you can yank on it. So now that insert that's as permanent as it's going to get, unless you cut it off and start over. Clean the top of it again. Alright. Pull it up through the handle. So the insert's down in there nice and tight. Boom. You got it. Nice, strong pull handle. And now I'm going to show you guys, if I haven't before, how to get the slack out of it. tighten it up. So we know it's caught on the spring, so we just pull it up, that little notch. You want it right there. Then you grab your rope, put it in that notch, and you're going to wind it counterclockwise. I do about 4 times, and then see where I'm at and start again. That's actually a lot of slack. I'll probably go again. Alright, now we straighten the rope out, pull the handle through, and gently let it come back while pulling slack. I mean, I'm going to give it another 2 wraps. Pull it out. This just ensures that it's a nice snappy recoil. You want there to be good tension on it. Because you don't want to pull it a couple times and then the rope just hangs out of the flywheel cover. You don't want that. That's what you want right there. So boom, our recoil is now functional and back together. We can put the cover back on now. Small screws. Also, sometimes these become an issue as well. If they're bent or have obstructions on them, that's also another reason why you should have oil in there. It'll grab that spool, and it won't come out, or it won't retract properly. So you want to make sure this is nice and smooth and clean, and that there's no obstructions, nothing grabbing that spool in there, because you're going to have problems. Even if you have to bang it out and straighten this plate, do it, because there's nothing more annoying on these saws than a recoil that's not working properly. And I am going to test it once I'm done tightening these. See, it's not grabbing nothing. It's properly oiled. It's just as smooth as it was without the cover. We're good. Now, we can move on to the flywheel. Move our hardware. Put the moon key in. Put the flywheel on before you do the coil. And I'll tell you the reason for that is you can pretty much put the flywheel on wherever you want to. Because if you have the coil on here and you're trying to put the flywheel on, that magnet, if you have the moon key, adjust it towards the coil side while you're trying to get it on flush, the magnet will just keep pulling to the coil. So always make sure that you put the flywheel on first before the coil. It'll just be a whole lot easier. Try to get the moon key in as straight as you can. Sometimes it needs a little encouragement. I'll show you what I mean in just a second. Like that. Just like that. Then we're going to get a small wrench socket and just tap it in there. Tap the top and the bottom. Go back and forth. So that way it kind of makes its own way into the crankshaft. If you're just banging it on the center, you can bend it. Alright. So there's that. Now we're going to put the flywheel back on. Line it up with the moon key hole. Pull it. And try to get it to fall right in place. Gentle pressure. Sometimes you got to start over again. No big deal. It just means it's not completely level when you're doing it. Because the trick is you want the starter pawls to wrap around that. to grab on. And sometimes what will happen is these little pieces right here will bust off, and then the starter pawls will cover the hole, and it's kind of a nightmare, but this one's in good shape, so we shouldn't be having that issue. Sometimes it's a little easier said than done. And also, a lot of times it has to do with the moon key. Sometimes the moon key's sticking out a little bit too much, like I think this one is. So just tap it in a little more. And you get it out the same way. You get a little flathead screwdriver and put it on the top of the moon key and just tap and tap until it comes out. Just make sure you're prepared for it to fall out. If this thing falls on the ground outside or something, good luck finding it. And even more than that, good luck finding a replacement, because these things are hard to find on their own unless you know somebody that can make you one. Alright, so feels like it's grabbed on. Test it. Yep. So now secure it the rest of the way with the hardware, washer, lock washer, nut. Simple stuff. And this will push it down the rest of the way. Get it in place. Another way to know too is if you look on the bottom to see if it's, if you can see inside of the recoil, which we can't. That looks good. And now go. Recoil is back. Now we can move on to the top. So we want our oiler lever just nice and clean. Just like this. And we're going to flip the handle over, put the lever up inside. There's a little spot for it right there. Flip it back, hold it with your finger, and just gently lower this over the intake. Like that, and it should fall right in place. And if it doesn't, just do it again. I'm sure there may be other ways that people do this, but I'm telling you, this is the easiest way by far. I've seen guys that they put the oiler lever down in there first. It's like, I don't know how the hell they get it. I don't know how they get it to fall back where it's supposed to. When you get the lever up through this hole, I don't know how they do it. So we're getting snagged somewhere. I don't know where. Oh, duh. Stupid. See, look, I put this screw in here so I wouldn't lose it. That's what's stopping us. Sorry. Let's try again. Start from here. Boom. Of course. Are we getting snagged on something else? Or am I crazy? Oil pump's exactly where it's supposed to be. So, hi girls.
Hi, Dad.
Hi, Jay.
What's
You had a good day? Oh, Daddy left that for Lexi this morning. We're getting hung up on something. I don't know what it is. Oh. I see. The actual oiler lever itself is sticking out. Or the little pump. Okay, guys. Final attempt. I think we're going to get it this time. Ta-da! Told you. Okay. Now that that's back on, let's get our screws for this. Have this put off to the side specifically for this one here. I always start from the front when you're reattaching this, because if you start from the back, you get a big gap right here. You'll get a big gap in the front. You don't want that. So you could just like gently press down and start it just like this. Just like that. So now there's no gap. It's just the way it should be. It's like I got dirt on the front. Sorry. Wipe that off. Clean that up when I'm through. Okay. Now the small screw I was talking about. Top of the recoil. Right here. Come on, baby. Can't really see. Got my head in the way, I'm sure. Okay, you're not catching that, so. Hold that nice, right in place. Okay. So now, I mean, you could go either way. I try to do the carburetor last. That's usually the last thing I do. So I guess that's what we'll do this time too. There's actually another screw that goes here. Okay, now we can reattach the coil. We have everything off to the side. You know what? I should have waited to put that one screw in there, but see, that fits. That little spacer. Back the screws out. Now we're going to move the magnet away from the coil while we're trying to put it on there. We will worry about the placement and position of it here in a second. We just want to get it on there first. But don't tighten it all the way. Because you want to be able, you want it to have some give so we can get it right where it needs to be up against that flywheel. It's a good trick that I'm sure a lot of you know. I mean, I've done this so many times that I can pretty much eyeball it. But a good way to do it, if you don't know, you want a credit card length. The width of a credit card from that magnet, from the tip of the coil to the magnet here. That's about where you want it. Okay, that's about right. And then test it, see if your placement was good. You pull. If it feels like it's rubbing on the flywheel, it's too close. Which actually mine is. So we're going to loosen it just a touch. And back it up a little bit. About right there. Try it now. much smoother. That's it. Now, obviously, it doesn't look like there's compression in this because there's no spark plug in it or anything, or muffler. So, all right, now we can do the cylinder cover. Just lay your spark plug wire there. We've got our toggle switch cover right here. It's been cleaned and sanded to shine it up, make it look good. Pull that off. Here's our cylinder cover, nice and clean. I like to back this up towards the edge of the table. Put the toggle switch through the hole first, just like this. Get it lined up. On, off, piece. Tighten this up. This can be finger tight, guys, because it's not really going to move. So there's that. Then we pull the boot wire. There's actually, the cylinder is designed with a little spot for it. Pull your boot wire up like this, and then gently rest your cylinder cover over the back of the cylinder. Hold its position like so. Then we've got our 3 screws that hold on the cylinder cover. I always start with the small ones, just like this. Hey, what are you girls doing?
She just found the trash can. She decided to be a moron and step on it.
Girls, be careful.
It was so funny.
There's one. There we go. 2. And then the third one. Put this all on its side. And we go right here.
What?
Just, hey.
I'll eat it too. Eat it.
Hey, girls. Gotta love kids.
Your aim is ball.
Girls, stop, please. Thank you. Alright, now, so who's still watching? Got a few people still watching. Alright, now we're going to put the spark plug back in. Oh, wait, that is not the right one. Here it is. Because this saw originally had the incorrect spark plug in it when it first showed up. So I got a brand new one for it, CJ8. Actually, you know what we'll do really quick while we have it the way it is? We're going to, even though we know it has spark, we're going to test it really quick.
Imagine being that. Imagine going to hell.
There we go. Just pop the spark plug inside the boot like this. Rest it on the fins. Turn the toggle switch on. And we're going to test it for spark. Just like this. We've got spark. So that means the coil is set up right. Everything's set up right. I'm getting oil all over this from my hands, so I will have to wipe this thing down when I am done, which is okay. Now our wrench tool. These came with these saws when you bought them new, and they were like, it's like my favorite thing ever. You can literally take this entire saw apart with 3 tools. All you need is a flathead screwdriver, 5/16, and a 9/16 wrench, and you're good to go. Pretty much everything on this saw can be done with just these things right here. So we got the spark plug in there nice and tight, just like this. Put it on over the plug. Turn the plug like that. Press it in. Hey, Ariana, I'm on stream. Thank you. Quiet. Alright, now we got that on. Here we go. Now we're missing just the carb and muffler and tops. So this one little screw goes right here under the fuel flue, but we're gonna attach this first before we put that in there because it's gonna give us more room to be able to put that in. I'll show you guys what I mean here in a second. Now we can move on to the carburetor. Just like this. Actually, you know what? We could do this. We could put this right here. I'm sorry, guys. My kids are kind of getting on my nerves. Hey, guys, get upstairs now. See you. I don't care. Go upstairs. Thank you. Ariana, if I gotta end this stream and whip your ass, I will. Get upstairs. You too, Ariella. Go. Bye. No, you have no respect. Let's go. Leave the food too.
Bro, I haven't eaten anything all day.
Get upstairs. Thank you. You're not allowed to eat up there.
What am I gonna do? Sit here and stop all day? Yeah, thanks.
Get upstairs.
Yeah, thanks.
See ya.
That felt very nice.
Man, kids are really something, guys. Let me tell you. My little one was in ISS today. My big one talks back to her teacher. I don't know, any parents out there got any tips for little girls? Let me know. Anyhow, back to the saw. We can put this fan cover on if we want to. I'm going to, just because we're done on that side and it's not going to affect putting on the handlebar at all. Very slowly, especially with this one, because you don't want to. That's as far as we're going to go on that one, because we don't want to puncture the inside of the gas tank. We'll actually hand tighten the rest of this one. Just like that. That's enough. She's looking good now. All right. Now we can move on to the carburetor. We only have this stuff set like this just so we didn't lose it. As you can see, it's got new gaskets. Reeds have been fixed. So we'll put the gasket over the intake first, just like this. Don't let that get lost. I've had that happen. That's fallen out on me a few times. That up through the butterfly. Very gently press it through the little gaskets here. The gasket. Make sure this is straight. Done, just like that. And then if we have to, we'll go back on the other side and press that through and make sure it's still even. But we're going to make sure this is fastened where it needs to be first. So that way we don't have to take it back out, because you don't want to be doing that. No sense in working twice, you know? one. Bottom one's not always as easy, especially when I don't have my most important screwdriver, guys. I use that thing for everything. Just double check. Here we go. Yeah, this is actually a later model 306A, guys. That's what this is. It's from my buddy Andre. You know, Acres Internet, the best site. Chainsaw. Yeah, I'm not a part of it. I tried to become a part of it, but I guess it's kind of inactive or something. But I haven't been, I'm not like a member on there or anything. I've gotten quite a bit of information from there, though, and there's a lot of good pictures of people's collections and their saws. It's really cool. You can learn a lot on there. But yeah, this is actually a later model 306A. A fellow from Norway actually sent this saw to me to be rebuilt and restored, and he specifically requested that it be restored back to its original condition. So that's what we've done here. This is Mopar green, later model green. We're gonna have everything is done. The only thing that we're waiting on before we send it back is the new decals. By the time we're done this stream here, this saw will be only needing decals, and that's it. Wrenches. I like to use 5/16 or an 8mm for this little area here, just because you get a good bite on here when you use 8mm. Seems like it catches it a lot better. Alright, now the carburetor's in place. Now we can put that little screw in there because it's no longer going to be in our way. Use the needle nose pliers to kind of rest it down in there first. Just like this. Drill. Choke lever. So I don't know if I showed you guys, but we got the choke lever looking brand new again, and the oiler button. And we were able to salvage the original cotter pin, which is hard to do because those things, they can only take being bent back and forth a few times before they finally break. Push that through. Push that through first. Then we're going to get it right through the little choke lever with the pin attached. Twist it. And with our small needle nose pliers, grab one end. Just open up the cotter pin, and boom, the choke lever is now reattached and functional. This is something that I forget to do sometimes. I've done it so many times. Your idle screw, your adjuster screw. Slide it through the spring first, put it up through here. And then you're going to turn it in. And then once it gets close to the hole here that touches the butterfly, kind of just guide it with your finger. put a little pressure on it until it goes through the hole. And this is your idle adjustment screw. Sometimes they seem to work a little better without that spring in there, which I honestly think that might be the case with this one. You know, it happens sometimes. Let's see if we get a little bit more play without the spring. Or sometimes what happens is there's already a spring inside of there, and you're wedging two springs, and it's the reason why it's not reaching the butterfly. But that's not the case here, because I took them out. I always make sure they're not in there. Let's try it without it. Because it actually didn't have a spring in it when I initially took this apart. I just added it because I knew it was supposed to be there. But there was probably a reason it wasn't. Yeah, see, I can tell already that it's threading way easier and smoother without it. Let's see. Reach the butterfly. Yep, there we go. Now we'll start with it about here. You want it open, and if Andre decides to start it up, you know, he can idle it down. Okay, so, oiler button. Slide this over the lever, just like this. Slowly twist and push. Just like that. It snaps in place. There's our oiler button now. We can turn the saw around and put the fuel lines back in. The one fuel line. Boom. Now we can go with the top cover, gas tank cover. It's been painted, cleaned. It's got a new gasket in there. Rest that over the top. That's it. Now tighten it down. And air filter. That's right. Got an air filter for this saw. I'm gonna brush this off really quick, guys. Actually, because you know it gets dirt and sawdust on it. It does its job. So we're just gonna wipe the edges off of it really quick. Even though it already got blown out. Doesn't have all that brown stuff on it anymore, all caked up. And top cover. Do this one by hand, because if you tighten this down too much, guys, especially on the 306As for some reason, I guess it's just the way they're designed. If you tighten this down too much, it gets stuck on that threaded, you know, stud that goes into the top of the carburetor. Then when you go to take it off, that thread becomes a permanent part of this screw. You don't want that. So there we go there. Now, really quick, we are going to tilt the saw on its side. Well, I like to do it from the other side. Let's do it like this. Do it from the clutch side, like that. Our rubber piece, it's nice and clean now. Press that back inside the rear handle. Like this. And we do have the screw in the back. It's painted just like it would have been when it was new. Back that out. I put that in there while the rear handle gets painted, so that way the screw head gets painted with the rest of it. It just looks way better. And our handle bracket. Bottom. It's actually, I did it in reverse this time, but there is actually a reason why you should do the bottom first. Actually, let me restart. I'm gonna do the bottom one first. It is a lot easier. And if you look at these from the factory, the paint, like the spray patterns on them, the overspray patterns, these saws were definitely partially assembled when they were painted. That's just how they did it, because they had to do so many of them on an assembly line. But pretty much every part on this saw, when I do them, they get individually worked on. They all get individually painted. You're going to get the best results that way. Okay. Now we're looking like something now, huh? Okay. So, actually, let's keep it on its clutch side for a second, because we're going to put the handlebar back on. This handlebar has not been re-gripped. It didn't need to be, but it was sanded and polished. The hardware was cleaned. So, this is the way I do them. It's better to do it like this. Put them on their side. Bottom screws first. Start with one. That'll hold it in place. And the other one should go in like a piece of cake. Alright. Now the top one. This we need a socket wrench for, and I've got the right one over here somewhere. No, that's not it. Where the hell is it? There it is. Alright. Well, the handlebar has been reattached. Now it's tilted on its side. And we are going to do just a tiny bit of residual oil. Even after I emptied the oil tank and everything, pumped it all out. It's fine, but it's just a tiny bit. Get that out. Okay. Actually, we'll just turn it off too over here. Dirty hands. What's next? What's next? Let's do the clutch cover. Oh, you know what? Really quick, before we go ahead and do that, since we're putting the saw back to the way it was when it was new, that means it gets a log dog, which the saw did not have when it came here. We're gonna put the log dog on. Let's see. Big side goes on the bottom, folks. Rest it on there like this. Now this, I can do this now because this is, you know, literally the only thing I'm gonna have to do later is put the decals on, and this isn't gonna get in the way or anything. The screw goes in through the back. The holes are, there's actually holes in the clutch cover that fit the heads of those screws perfectly. Just like that. Tighten it up. Alright, I've got a bit to be able to tighten that up with the socket. So let me find it over here. I have it here somewhere. There it is. I should tighten up the log dogs. That, I'll tell you, these things save these clutch covers a lot of the time too. Like, you know, when, because it happens sometimes, I get it. Sometimes people put these clutch covers on wrong, and they, you know, they put this lip flush up against here, and when they tighten the clutch cover down, it cracks it from here down to here. A lot of times, though, these things kind of reinforce that and stop that from happening, but not all the time. So it's always good to make sure you're putting it on correctly. Let's throw this on its side. Get that thread out of it. Put our bar guide plates on. This one first. Clutch cover on, like so. Perfect fit. Mind you, all of this hardware has been cleaned and sanded. Make it look clean and new again. We just want this finger tight, guys. We're not going to tighten this super tight because there's no need to. It's going to come off when I do the decals anyway. Maybe. We'll see. Definitely the air filter cover will come off when I place the decal because that's the hardest one to do. Because it fits like right in that space for it. And if it's even the slightest bit off, it's very noticeable. Okay. Now, time for the new old stock, brand new 1-bolt muffler that we're going to put on here. That is what came with this saw when he sent it to me. Not this specific muffler, but this design. But I did recently just get one of these for a steel. And I knew, see, look, see how that is? See that third little thing? That's not on any of the early models because it was specifically designed for this muffler. Rest that over like so. And there's usually, yeah, see these little things fit right inside the exhaust port. like this. If I can get my drill down in there. Yep. Get that started. Snap in place, just like that. And we will put, oh, you know what? I can see that that's not right over that third hole like it needs to be. So let's back this out just a little bit. And this one. Because you want this right over that, there we go, right over that third hole like that. So when you put the long screw in, you're not digging into the housing of the muffler. You want it to be flush. I personally, not just because of TCM, Texas Chainsaw, I personally like the, I do like the 2-bolt versions of this muffler better. They seem to be a little easier to work with. If all else fails, then we have to drill out the back of this muffler and make it fit snug. Because it is new old stock. It's never been on a saw. It doesn't have any like muscle memory or anything, you know. So we're gonna have to kind of force this stuff a little bit. Brand new, this is all new old stock too. Brand new internals. Sleeve. Screw in the front. Now this is where we want to make sure this is catching. Feels like it is so far. Beautiful. And that is it. 5/16. A little bit more of a little torque. You don't want to torque it too much because then you'll bend the front. But boom, there you have it. Completely rebuilt, restored, later model, Poland 306A. And yeah, I guess the only thing left to do now is the decals, which hopefully they will be here soon. I mean, it's been over 3 weeks now. I know they take long, but my goodness, you know. Yeah, Andre, I hope you get to see this again. I'm going to take some pictures of it as it is right now and send them to you. I will post, send you some before and afters so you can get a good look at it, man. You got a good saw here. Yeah, it's got good compression too. Check it out. Replace that pull rope for you. So, yeah, we're good to go, man. As soon as those decals come, I'll pop them on and snap some photos and show you. But thank you guys for hanging out with me for an hour and a half. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope maybe you learned something. And I'll see y'all on the next one.